Hey, peace, family, and we are now live. Thank you for your patience, family. Going to have an amazing show tonight. I know y'all see the title and y'all like money rituals. Oh, I'm tuning into that. Yeah, there's a lot
Yeah.
of science when it comes to currency. I'm about to bring on my guests. I want y'all to get comfortable. This is the brother's debut on this channel. I've been
Yes,
watching the brother
sir.
for a while on Instagram. His teachings are magnetic. I know y'all gonna enjoy him. But as we do always, let's first get to this commercial. Family, get comfortable, hit the like button. Tell your friends and family to tune in as well. Let's get to this quick commercial from me and Cambada. Holy Ghost 3 drop in December 16th. We'll be right back in 1 minute, family. All right. Without further ado, I want to welcome first time on the platform, family, Merkabah13. Welcome to the platform, my brother.
Hey, man, appreciate you for having me, man. Hey, like I said, I've been watching your channel for a minute, bro. So to finally be on here, it's a pleasure. We definitely gonna cook tonight. So,
Oh
I'm
yeah.
ready, man. Appreciate you for having me.
Oh yeah. The like I said, I love your Instagram. I'm not on Instagram much, but when I am on there, I love when your posts pop up, very inspiring, very stimulates the mind. And you're doing a great job out there, my brother. I know you got an amazing story. I actually just the topic is one that a lot of people will be interested in. And I think what
Right.
makes the topic so interesting with you talking about it is because you were homeless a couple of years ago,
Right.
homeless
Right.
and paralyzed. You were
Right.
homeless
Right.
and paralyzed a couple of years ago, and your life just completely turned around. If you could give the family a backstory about who you are, what happened, and how did you get to this place, I think that would be great, my brother, and very inspiring.
Oh yeah. Cool, cool. Well, yeah, basically, I'm born and raised in Atlanta. So growing up, I always was inquisitive. I was always very insightful and just curious. I remember sitting in church as a young kid and, just having questions about things. And I saw very early on that people don't like you to question authority. They don't like you to really think for yourself and really think outside the box. So I was always interested into, the occult, spirituality. I remember being as young as like 8 or 9 years old and getting on the internet and typing in, how to become psychic, how to do all of these, how to meditate and all of these things. And this is when I was very, very young. And so coming up, I always had an interest into metaphysics. But, being raised in like a Christian, a religious household, you kind of get suppressed and people kind of push like these narratives on you that only Jesus is the way and all this stuff that you learn about is demonic. So I kind of had to wrestle with that for years. And pretty much I had a very powerful spiritual awakening when I turned 17 years old. And this will kind of lead into like the whole situation about me paralyzed. But so this is like 2011, and it was me and three friends. We used to go to this lake every single day, like just every day. We would just go to the lake and smoke and chop it up. And one night, I don't know what convinced us to do this. This is how I know the spirit world is real. For some reason, something just told us like, hey, bro, let's just make a fire. So we made a fire. We made like a little fire pit. And for some reason, we was like, yo, whatever is on your heart, just speak it into the fire. So we was talking about all the things that we wanted to manifest. We was talking about our dreams, our goals, and all of this. And one of my homies said, he was like, yo, if a portal opened up in the middle of this lake right now, would y'all jump in it? And we all looked at each other and said, hell yeah, shit, I'll jump in that shit. And literally, like less than 5 minutes later, a super bright ass light. Like, I'm talking about a light that's so bright you couldn't see anything around you. You couldn't. It was just pure light. I couldn't see anything outside of it. And it was also like a powerful magnetic force that literally locked me into place. And in the distance, I can see the silhouette of an entity, kind of like a wing, like an entity with wings, like a dark entity though. And literally everything just came back to normal. Me and my homies looked at each other and we took off running. And so from that experience, I started getting all these downloads. I started learning a lot of things. And it's like my senses increased. I started being able to like hear things. I started to be able to see things before they happen. And this led me even further down the rabbit hole of just trying to learn all of this stuff. And so pretty much from the age of like 18 to about 25, I basically was just wandering around, just trying to figure all of this shit out because I was having these spiritual, these profound experiences, but I didn't really have anybody to talk to or anybody to really build upon this with. So this is kind of when I kind of like just fell into a very rebellious era. And I kind of went through a phase of like, yo, fuck everything else except spirituality. And so I got into a state where I was meditating every day. But I found myself homeless because I had this mindset of like, yo, fuck a job, fuck being in the system, fuck being in the matrix, all of this. And so I found myself, just really dealing with, the pure natural state of spirituality. And, I basically found myself homeless, even though I didn't call it homeless then. I called it living off the grid. And so, I was living with different people. I would be couch surfing. And eventually, I just started to realize that, I had to be able to integrate the spiritual into the physical. And so this is when I started to like, heal my relationship with money and started to get into the money rituals. And so once I started to do that, I started getting money. And what I didn't understand was that, money is energy. And when you have this energy flowing around you, a lot of people will get envious, a lot of people will get jealous. And you don't understand that, every time you gain something, you lose something. It'll always kind of be a balancing act. And so I ended up attracting a lot of negativity, a lot of people that didn't really want to see me win. And I ended up getting shot in 2020. So basically a couple niggas tried to rob me. That shit went left. And I ended up getting shot in the back, got shot directly in the spine. And so I was in the hospital for about 4 to 5 months at Grady. Then they shipped me to Emory. And so altogether, I was paralyzed for about 2 years. But during that time period, it forced me to go deeper within myself than I had ever been. Because honestly, what else was I gonna do? So this is when I got super deep into meditation. This is when I got super deep into the rituals and really going within myself and removing all of the blockages and really analyzing, why I found myself in that situation. And, this led to me having some super powerful experiences. I made videos about it, but this is when the entities really started to come through. And there was this one particular entity where, because, the thing about being paralyzed is that you will still feel pain, but it's nerve pain. So my whole body just literally felt like I was being stabbed with knives like 24/7. And so one day the pain got so excruciating, it's like I literally couldn't handle it. And this is kind of when, my major breakthrough really happened. Because basically an entity showed up and it was basically like a dwarf looking entity. It was a very short entity, but entity told me that I am pain and you can actually trade your pain that you felt in the past or that you're currently going through. You can exchange that pain with these entities in exchange for healing, in exchange for resources, money, or whatever it is that you need at the time. And once I did that, once I started communicating with these entities, I literally, healed myself. And what was crazy is when I first went to the hospital, I saw like 4 different doctors. All of them told me like, bro, you will never walk again. It's over with. Basically, with the type of injury that I had, they basically said there was no way to walk. Like my spine was just, fractured beyond repair. And so just through deep meditation, rituals, working with candles, working with these entities, I was able to heal myself. And, I've been walking for about a year now. So going through that whole experience of just being homeless, being shot, being paralyzed, it really took me to a whole nother level spiritually, because the only way for me to heal myself was to look beyond the physical and go beyond the limitations that I had accepted, that, the doctors was trying to tell me. And I had to really say, fuck all of that. I'm in control of my reality. And through doing that, it gave me the power to heal and to even help heal others. So once that happened, this is when I really started going hard on social media, because I just felt like people needed to hear my story. I feel like, a lot of people out here are struggling with depression. A lot of people are struggling with personal problems in their life. And I kind of wanted to just shed light on people like, yo, whatever you're going through, you can overcome it based upon changing your mindset, changing your energy, and by not allowing temporary circumstances to become, long-term circumstances. And so through doing all of these things and integrating the spiritual practice, I was able to not only heal, but also I was able to find success in the world. And it kind of just came full circle for me. And once I started putting out the content, putting out the messages, people really resonated with it. And, eventually I blew up, and now I'm doing speaking engagements. I'm doing brand deals. I'm doing all of these things. And, I really come from nothing. I come from poverty. Both of my parents died when I was young. Nobody really ever gave me anything. So I was forced to go within myself and find the God within. And that's how I'm here right now, sitting in front of you.
Yeah, that's an amazing story, my brother. Very inspiring, very inspiring. So these entities, are you still in communication with these entities?
Well, honestly, I've always been in communication with them, but like I
The
was
dwarf
saying,
one, the dwarf one, the dwarf one.
yeah, yeah, yeah. See, the thing about it is, like, with these entities, they're aspects of you. And
Yes,
so
yes.
they can change and transform over time. But even as a kid, I was always in communication with these spirits. But like I said, with the Christianity program, you're taught that that's evil, that's demonic. And so
Mhm,
I kind of like severed that connection, and over time I had to build it back up.
mhm. What do you think? When healing is a big topic,
Right.
and a lot of people that are in the natural community, the organic community, the conscious community, the woke community, whatever name you want to give to it, they a lot of us go to meditation, yoga, herbs, things of that nature. A lot of people may go to herbs, natural alternatives to heal themselves. What do you think it was that really, do you think this was exclusively like some entities really doing energetic work on you, or was there something you did specifically that you think was the main catalyst to get you walking again?
Yeah, honestly, I think it was a combination of all of those things. So
Hmm.
meditation was a super big part of it, because
Hmm.
basically, through the meditation that I was doing, I was able to like literally go within my mind and go into my body and
Hmm.
literally channel this energy like directly into my spine. And
Hmm.
this is all through visualization, imagination, and understanding that your imagination is real or can become real. So
Hmm.
meditation was a big part of it. Also
Hmm.
herbs, I try to, be like as healthy as I can. I'm not like a super duper strict vegan, but
Hmm.
I was definitely, trying to eat more alkaline foods and taking herbs, drinking chamomile teas, like going through the whole holistic thing. And then also, just really getting into magic and, really lighting candles, really calling out to some of these entities, and really kind of just trying to integrate all of these different parts into one. And also just maintaining the right mindset to attract healing, because a lot of times people can't heal because they haven't created the proper environment for the healing to take place. So all of these things played a part in the healing process. And it all starts within you, but you have to put in the work consistently for it to happen. Because I'll be real, it was certain days where I even felt like, man, maybe this shit is over. Like maybe I'm not gonna walk again. But for me to go beyond those doubts is really what allowed me to change the situation. So it was a combination of all of these things. And I think really spirituality is so all encompassing that
Yes.
you really kind of have to use a lot of different tools and methods and combine them to really find what works for you, because what works for me may not work for the other person. Like some
Yeah.
people may not tap in through meditation. Some people may tap in more, through other means. Some people may, it may be sex magic. It may be, any of these other things that's, a part of this that can really be a benefit. But, I just try to integrate all of these things into one.
Yeah, we had to start the show with that amazing story, my brother. Like I said, I'm glad that you were able to tap in to your inner energy, your inner God energy, and heal yourself, my brother. And
Appreciate
yeah,
it, bro.
you're here now, man. We here, so that's
Yes, sir.
dope. Let's get to the topic, the conversation of what we call money or currency, my brother. Merkabah13. This is a hard one for a lot of people who wake
Right.
up who
Yeah.
wake up from the matrix, because it's like, you don't like everything you going on around you, and it's
Yeah.
almost like the concept of money is so tied into what we call evil in this world that a
Right.
lot of people find it contradictory to embrace money and to be conscious at the same time.
Right.
So I want to ask you, what is it for people out there, and I've been through that phase too, where I woke up and I didn't like the world I was seeing, and I was just like, like this nomad walking around and didn't want to participate in a lot of earthly activities. What advice would you have for a conscious person who knows all the complicated metaphysical things in the world? They could tell you about the earth being flat or being round. They could tell you about the speed of light, the speed of they could tell you the most complex shit in the world. But that
Yeah.
brother, when he goes home to his family, he doesn't know how to manifest enough money for his woman to be pleased with him and for his children to be pleased with him. How would you
Right.
start out by talking to that brother?
Well,
Or
honestly, I can definitely relate to that because, like you were saying, I've been through that phase. But honestly, this is how I look at it.
yes.
I feel like too often we kind of adopt this mindset of like we have to be against something, that we always have to try to go against the grain all the time in every way. And what
Mm,
I found was, just to keep it real, that when I was broke, it's like I was really only suffering and hurting myself and people around
mm,
me. And
mm,
this is how I look at it. And I tell people this all the time. People that say money is evil, money is all of these things. And I say, bro, if I was to give you $100 million right now, you would be happy. You know what I'm saying? Like it would shift the energy inside of you on a certain level. And so I even, I say this, and a lot of people argue with me in the comments, a lot of people get mad, but I say that, money is spiritual, because we've put so much energy and so much just time and effort and energies into money that at this point it's become an entity. And also, not only that, but when I look at money, when I think about money, I don't just think about what a white man's face on it. Like,
mm,
that's just one form of money. I look at money, I look at wealth, in its totality, and I say, well, land, is a form of money. Health is a form of money.
mm,
So, a lot of people, they look at money in a limited way. And as
mm,
a conscious person, it's really your mind that you have to transform. And when you do that, you can realize that, hey, money is a tool that can be used to enhance my life and enhance the life of others. So if I'm looking at money as something that's evil, I will always be broke. I will never be able to really attract it. And like I said, who really suffers at the end of the day from me hating money or me being against money? I'm only hurting myself. And as a conscious person, if we say that, like, yo, we beyond all of this, well, it really shouldn't matter if I have $1 million or $0. But just in this world, it's no benefit to having $0 over 1 million. So
mm,
I just look at it from a very practical aspect of like, yo, I can use this money to help more people. I can use this money to help put this message out even more, because I know, like, what you're doing, it costs money, to host these events, to, get the equipment to go live. All of this costs money. So until we're at the point where we're 100% in control of manufacturing and we already have the land, we have to get to that point. And I just don't see an alternative to where, at this particular time, you can just live completely without money. So I just figured, like, yo, I need to master money and master this phase of physical reality. And, it's funny too, because like you were saying, a lot of people is so super conscious. But this is what I found. When you truly align all the way spiritually, your physical needs will be taken care of. But what happens is a lot of people, their upper chakra, their higher chakras are overstimulated, but their lower chakras are not really, in tune like that. And
Mhm.
so it's a lot of people that got all the knowledge, but to be able to manifest it and make it practical and make it tangible, that's always kind of been, my motive and my aim, because I'm gonna be real. I just feel like as a community and as a whole, us being able to tap into wealth more would help us more spiritually as well. Because if you hungry and you starving and you fucked up, it's harder for you to really even tap in spiritually, because it's like you're still stuck on that level and you stressed about where money gonna come from. So in my experience, the more spiritual I've gotten, really the more money that I've started to get, and the more that I've been able to expand and become more in tune with myself. So yeah, you just have to understand that at this point, that you make anything what it is. Like, if we want to say money has no value, we can say that nothing has value. But where does that lead us to? Like, do we just stop eating and just meditate and just ascend?
Right.
Because if that's the case, I mean, what's stopping people from doing that? If you was really that serious about, yo, I just want to get off the planet,
Mhm.
well, you can do that. You know what I'm saying? It's like, what's
You're right.
what's really keeping you here if you really so beyond it, put in the work and ascend. But just overall, I just feel like, it would benefit us, greatly to tap into wealth instead of having a negative relationship with it.
Indeed. Are there like, do you just have a positive mindset, or do you do like money rituals on a daily basis, or is it just your overall mindset? Which one you think?
It's both. I mean, honestly, you do the rituals to improve your mindset, because what I
Yeah.
found, and like even within myself, a lot of us have a negative or a toxic relationship with money and with wealth. And a lot of times it really goes back to childhood, because like I was saying with the chakras, not only do our chakras hold energy, but they also hold memories. So I know, like for me, I saw my mom, growing up struggling to pay bills and always being stressed about money. And, it's almost like she kind of instilled that consciousness in me to kind of just always feel like, life is a struggle. Life is hard. We don't have enough. And, a lot of times we unconsciously adopt these mindsets, and we don't realize that, these unresolved traumas that we have from our childhood and how we grew up can really affect us later in life. So, the whole point of doing the rituals is to heal the traumatic relationship that you have with money. So both of those things go hand in hand, because if you have a negative mindset, if you think all rich people are evil, if you think all of these, negative things, it's like, bro, if you hate money, then money will hate you too. And so, like I say, I have a relationship with money. And a lot of people, it's hard for them to kind of grasp that concept. But to me, it only helped me to start thinking like that versus thinking like, oh, fuck money. We don't need it. That's the white man. It's just like, where does that lead you? So
Mhm, mhm. Do you think with the journey you have, with the journey you went through, is there any part of your journey that you may tell somebody who just start their journey, like, hey, maybe you should skip that. That's pretty dangerous. Like, I know some people who are into the abundance mindset. They tell
right.
people to stay away from conspiracy theory because
Hmm.
you'll start to sabotage yourself, and everything that happens, you're blaming on an outside source instead of taking responsibility for it. So,
Right.
and some people say you should embrace the entire journey. So, is there anything you would like change or tell people you shouldn't go down there? Do you think all of it is a piece of what we have to experience?
Yeah, honestly, that's a great question. Like me, if I could like live my life over again,
Mhm.
I definitely would have taken a lot of different steps, because I feel like I put myself through suffering that I didn't have to go through.
Mm, mm,
And this remind me a story of the Buddha. Because a lot of people may or may not know, but the Buddha was born rich. He was a prince. And the reason that he set out to gain enlightenment is because wherever he went, he saw that people were suffering. And so he
Mhm.
started to wonder, like, what is the cause of suffering in the world? Like, why am I having all of these things, but everywhere I go, I'm seeing people sick, I'm seeing people fucked up. Like, what is it? And so that's what led him to, go on his journey of detaching from everything and, seeking enlightenment. And my favorite quote from the Buddha is that once he woke up and once he found enlightenment, he literally said that, like, yo, all that shit that I was doing, spending years meditating in the fucking thorn bush, it was a waste of time. The enlightenment was always right here. I just couldn't see it because I was expecting it to manifest in a certain way.
Right.
And I feel like that story is very significant because even the Buddha said that, a lot of the unnecessary suffering that we go through is really just a part of our ego. And,
Mhm.
especially as Black people, like, I feel like we almost have like a trauma bond just with suffering because, it's so ingrained in us that, we come from slavery and, with the white man is oppressing us and all of these things that becomes our identity and that becomes our main point of attraction throughout life. So we kind of just go into life kind of expecting to struggle, expecting for bad things to happen. And that's another part of doing rituals is to kind of reprogram these beliefs. And it's like, no, you can go out here and live a successful, abundant, prosperous life and still be spiritual. Like, I'm not out here doing no bullshit. I'm not out here scamming people. I'm not out here, like harming people to get money. Like, I'm doing this ethically and I'm doing it from following my purpose. So, I think suffering can serve a purpose and it can make you stronger, but a lot of times we kind of suffer unnecessarily just due to, our lack of knowledge. So, yeah, honestly, I think a lot of things I went through could have been avoided. And me
Mhm.
looking back on me just looking back on my life now, I definitely would have, just thought about life differently and kind of just not try to be so against everything and kind of learn to go with the flow. And like you were saying, like, the conspiracy theories, I say this, it's good to be aware and it's good to know about these things, but at the end of the day, your life should be your main priority. So what can I really do about what the fuck Bill Gates and all these, Illuminati families are doing? Like, what can I just like, what does that really just have to do with me on the individual level? It's like, yeah, I can know about it, but until I increase my level of consciousness and, gain more power in the world, you know, whatever they're doing, they're creating their reality. I need to focus on creating mine. And instead of, what I see is a lot of people get so deep into the conspiracies and get deep into, all of the terrible things that's happening that they get stuck at that level. Like, conspiracy theories are a level of consciousness, but at a certain point, you kind of have to graduate and go beyond that and really find out, how to manifest, your supreme potential and, your supreme, state of being in life. So yeah, man. I would just say, you don't have to suffer or feel like, you have to go through, all of these things just to prove a point of how spiritual you are. Like, you can be spiritual and not go through any of that.
Mhm.
So
Indeed. I know with a lot of people, something happens where, and I went through a phase like this, and it was like I had to get over a hump at one time where something good may happen to you. You may come across money. Then it seems like something bad always happens right after the good thing that happens. So it's
right.
like to the point where people just anticipate. We're to the point where people something good to happen, and they're like, "Oh shit, I feel like something bad's about to happen." They know it's
Yeah.
not a right feeling to have, but they have that feeling. If things go too good, they're like, "Oh
Yeah.
shit, am I about to die or something?" Because things is just going too good for me.
Yeah.
Talk to the people who maybe they try to get over that hump, but every time something good happens, their car breaks down. Then they got to pay this, or they get 5,000. Next thing you know, their sister gets sick, or something happens with their brother. Now they got to
Right.
bail their brother out of jail, and it's like, damn, I just got this money, and then this happened. Explain what happens with that particular vibration.
Yeah. Yeah, once again, that kind of goes back into, childhood trauma and subliminal programming because really what I found just from like talking to a lot of people and really going deep into the psychology
Mhm.
of, poverty and wealth, a lot of people deep down, they don't feel like they're worthy of having these good things. So some of that is actually self-sabotage because, like I say, a lot of us come from poverty and not having anything. So we're used to that. So when we do get something, it's almost like we want to kind of like our subconscious wants to revert back to what it's comfortable with. And a lot of times that's what's happening when, you have these scenarios playing out where something good happens and then something bad happens. It's because your subconscious mind has been programmed to kind of self-sabotage itself and kind of go back to what it's used to. And this is another, reason why, people, why we do rituals is to, change and reverse those subliminal, those subconscious programs that we have running. And a lot of times, it takes a lot of inner work to even figure out, why these things are happening. But it can just be something as simple as, you wanted things as a kid and your parents told you, no, you can't have that. And just hearing that over and over again, it can kind of just implant an idea in your head that, well, yeah, I'm not supposed to have these things that I want. So a lot of times it's an internal battle. And then also too, just the way life is, what I found is that, the more that you gain, the more that, it's gonna be in opposing energy to kind of try to just, not really take it from you, but to kind of test you and to just see where your mindset is at. Because a lot of times you can get things, then a challenging situation happen, and it's really just testing you to see that if you're gonna respond with your new energy and your new mindset, or if you're gonna kind of go back to the old mindset and kind of just become stressed and frustrated and just fall back into that lower frequency instead of just saying like, you know what, okay, this challenging situation is happening, but and this is just how I look at things. I feel like anytime something bad happens, something better is going to happen once I get through it and navigate through that.
Mhm.
So yeah, a lot of it is programming, subconscious, subliminal programming. And this is why, this is the real reason why we do rituals. Of course, it's to reprogram the subconscious and kind of change these deeply embedded thoughts and beliefs that we have, but we're not really aware of them. So
It almost seems like we're obsessed with the idea of consciousness. Like we'll talk about conscious music, conscious community, conscious this, conscious that. But it seems like we need to be more concerned with the subconscious than the conscious, huh? Because it
right.
seems like we're analyzing the conscious mind in this, but we're not really penetrating that subconscious mind. So talk to me about, since we're talking about subconscious programming and money, what are some ways to reprogram, do you think? Give me an example of a way of reprogramming the subconscious mind for money.
Man, there's so many ways. I'll just start with something basic that anybody can do, even if you're not really into, like the magic and the occult part. I
Mm,
mean, it can be as simple as you actually bringing plants into your home. Like, particularly, you want to focus on the lucky bamboo plant and you want to
mm,
get you some jade plants. And you can get these at like Home Depot and Walmart. But, these plants are associated with money, good fortune, and wealth. And also just having plants around you and in your home will invite good energy, help you, breathe better. It'll help you, just get to a more balanced, natural state. But, you want to do that. And then also, this is like super basic, but a lot of people overlook it. You really want to just clean your house and you want to like, get into some feng shui because a lot of
very
people
good
don't
point.
understand, like I say, just about the way that energy flows. It's like, if you're in an environment that's like dirty, where everything is all cluttered, psychologists have said that, the way that your room looks, has a very significant connection to, your mind and your thoughts. So, one thing that I like to do, is you want to
I know what
clean
you're
your
gonna say.
house.
Yeah, good, good. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah. You
Mm,
want to clean your house. So like you want to like get a mop, you want to mop your floors, but you want to put a little cinnamon in the water. And cinnamon is also good for wealth. Like I like to sprinkle a little cinnamon in my door. I like to sprinkle cinnamon
mm,
just like a pinch into my wallet.
mm.
Just little things like that where it seems like it's insignificant. It seems like it doesn't make sense, but our subconscious doesn't operate based on logic. So by doing these things like cleaning your house, you can get some cinnamon, you can get you some bay leaves, and you just mix that with whatever cleaning solution you use, and just cleaning your house with that, it'll also cleanse the energy. Because a lot of times, like I say, you have to create the right environment for the prosperity to come in. And a lot of times we're kind of locked into a particular frequency because we do the same things every day. We kind of just keep ourselves in the box of comfortability. And so these are just simple things you can do, like using the cinnamon, cleansing your house, cleansing yourself, taking spiritual baths. And this is just like the super surface basic level. But doing these things can have a profound effect, especially like just cleaning your house and cleaning your room. Like, I can't understate that enough. Like, growing up, we always heard that cleanliness was next to godliness, but we don't understand like all of the things we allow to pile up, and just it blocks the energy from coming through.
Mhm.
And so that's like a basic level. We can go deeper and start talking about candles and entities and different things like that. But that's like super simple. And then really the biggest thing when it comes to wealth is really, like I said earlier, just healing your relationship. Like, a lot of us almost have guilt attached to getting money. A lot of us
Yeah.
kind of like stuck. Oh yeah, now you was gonna say something?
No, I was about to say, yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a certain guilt almost, like, oh man, and it's really crazy because I've seen this in the conscious community pretty much since I've been a part of it. It's like a lot of people just have this kind of like just fucked up relationship to where they think that getting money is bad, or they just feel like we shouldn't have or strive to get it. And I would even go so far as to say, before we had these paper money and dollar bills, we was dealing with gold in Egypt. We was dealing with older forms of money, and we always had a certain you know we had a certain level of trade amongst different tribes. So it's like this concept of money goes far beyond just these paper bills. It's really just the way that societies and civilizations function, of just trade, bartering, and money is just the modern way to do that. So yeah, it's like it's really a subconscious reprogramming you have to go through. And it's so many ways that you can do it, but we'll get deeper into it as we go on.
Do you think gold and silver are entities? Like we talked earlier about entities. Do you think when you have gold or silver present, or you wear gold and silver, you could talk to it and it'll bring more wealth or abundance to you?
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely. Yeah, gold. I mean, like I said, like when you like look at ancient Egypt, when you look at a lot of ancient cultures, gold has always just been synonymous with not only wealth, but it's also synonymous with healing. And this is why a lot of people wear gold on a subconscious level, because it can activate certain things within the DNA, and it can, attract certain energies towards you. And like I say, like all of these things are connected to the earth, and they're connected to the universe, to where having these things around you, it's kind of just, it's like crystals. Like, certain crystals can hold energy, but so can gold, and really so can a lot of so-called inanimate objects. Because ultimately, and this is the whole premise of magic, is that your mind can activate these things and make them become magical based on the energy that you put into them. So if you just a person that doesn't believe in this stuff, and you think like, oh yeah, it's just gold, it's just paper, that's your mindset. But you, as a god and as an individual, you can make these things become magical, and you can make them serve you on that level based upon you doing the work.
Yeah, definitely. And just to go back earlier when you was talking about cleanliness, one thing I want to bring up that I don't want to forget is when you was talking about cleanliness, and something that I had to implement as I got older was the idea of just making my bed, and how effective something that small, a person wouldn't know, something as
Yeah,
small as making your bed in the morning before you leave will change your whole life. And it sounds ridiculous, but if
yeah,
you once again, if you talk to psychologists, they'll talk about it. You've heard about that, right? Just making your
yeah,
bed,
yeah.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah, man.
definitely. Yeah, definitely. I mean, like, and that's what I'm saying. Like, a lot of times people are looking for like these super abstract, fancy things, when it's
Mhm.
really a lot of times a lot more simple
Yeah.
than you could really even imagine. Like you were saying, like, making your bed, having, a daily routine of, doing things that bring benefit to you. Like a lot of people kind of just go through life in an unconscious way. So they
Mm.
don't really, see the significance in that. Like even now, like, I just got a new crib and it's like, I'm not really, one thing about me, I never really liked having like a lot of big, bulky furniture. I kind of try to have like a minimalist, kind of design, aesthetic, just because, like I say, I'm all about allowing that energy to flow
Yeah.
through. So
No
yeah,
clutter.
like I mean, oh yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, no clutter. No clutter.
Yeah, exactly. Like, trying to be as clutter free as possible. And then it's like, it's just even simple things like when it just come to like your personal rituals that you can do. Like, everybody knows like when you go to the barbershop and get that fresh tape up, you feel better about yourself.
Yeah.
And it's certain things like that. Like you want to create an environment to where, you actually feel good because a lot of people, when it comes to money, money is a stressful thing for them. Like when people think about money and bills, it's stressful. And that stressful energy can also, create resistance from bringing wealth in. That's why you want to create an environment where you're at ease, because when you're at ease, things can flow to you more easier. And so, a lot of this stuff, like you were saying, keeping things clean, making your bed, when you do these things over time, it would just make your environment more peaceful and a lot less chaotic, to where now you're in an energetic position to receive. And that's really the thing. You can't really receive anything if your hands is closed. You have to open up and allow these things, to actually come into your life.
What emotion would you say reminds you personally of money the most? We got happiness, we got tranquility, you could say peace, you could say ecstasy. What emotion you think reminds you of financial abundance?
Gratitude, you
Gratitude.
know, gratitude. One thing that I found, especially from going through that situation
Okay.
of being paralyzed,
Mhm.
it really showed me how a lot of things that I thought was so bad was really nothing. Like, really, like not being able to walk, not being able to use the bathroom by yourself. It really showed me that, like, yo, a lot of the things that I was so stressed about before was really
Mm,
insignificant. And it
mm,
was really kind of me just being a bitch, to be honest, because a
mm.
lot of times we don't really even, have gratitude for the level of abundance that we do have, just even being in America. Like, we can talk about how fucked up things are, but if we just compare, our daily reality to, globally across the world, we're still kind of living a much better life than a lot of people. But what's interesting is, and they've done studies on this where they go to some of the poorest countries, like I'm talking about real poverty where people don't even got, running water. And a lot
Mm.
of times those people are happier than people that live over here because they don't really have anything to compare themselves to. So they just accept reality. And, one thing I found is that, a lot of times, the mindset that we have when it comes to lack and not having money is because we're we're comparing ourselves to these, ideas of wealth that they give us. So we think that, we got to have a Lambo and mansions to be wealthy and to, tap into abundance. And that's not really what I'm talking about. Like, and that's another thing with, conscious people. Like when I talk about money, they think that I'm talking about greed. I'm just talking about having enough money to be comfortable and not stress about this shit all the time. And so, however high you want to go is up to you. But I'm kind of just talking about getting to a space where, money is no longer just like, this concept that's just constantly causing anxiety and, just negative emotions. But yeah, gratitude, like you have to start off by being, by having gratitude for what you already have. Because trust me, like, especially the position that I'm in now, I remember being homeless in the wintertime and, trying to find places to stay in, like, finding, trying to, hit people like, hey, bro, can I crash here tonight? And all of
Right.
these things. And I look back at that time and like, even when I was going through that, I still was had gratitude, just the fact that I had a sound mind and I had, a body. And a lot of people don't even show any gratitude for what they already have. So it's hard for, the universe or the spirit world to give you more.
Right.
So yeah,
Excellent.
that's the main energy, gratitude. But yeah, all the other ones go in, tie into it as well. Happiness, power, just feeling good and at ease and stress free.
Mhm. Yeah, I'm glad you said that. That's a big one, gratitude. And I know a lot of brothers and sisters, they struggle with that because they look in their surroundings. They may live in poverty and they say to themselves, hey, what do I have to be grateful for? They feel
Yeah,
as though they're not doing too good. But like you said, it took you being paralyzed for you to realize, just how much you had when, before.
yeah,
So I think that's very important.
yeah. Nah,
Definitely.
facts.
One thing I wanted to touch on before I get to a couple of questions from the people in the chat is we deal with the metaphysics, we deal with the occult. You talked about you and your friends being by this lake
Yeah,
and talking to the fire and a portal opening up in the lake. Now
right,
the main I just told who I was talking to the other day. I don't know. I was talking to somebody the other day, and like when I do my magic, you 9 times out of 10 there's always fire around. I have a great
right,
relationship with fire. Talk to me about, speaking of fire and manifestation in this realm, your
right.
experiences and your knowledge and your reading. What can you tell us about speaking to fire and it relating to us manifesting things in this realm?
Right. Well, yeah, I mean, the whole premise and the whole point of magic is to tap into the power of the mind and, to tap into the forces of nature and the universe to create a change and to create, the reality that you want to see. So you always want to work with the elements. Like, everything that, we do in magic really comes from the elements anyway. Like when you really get into like voodoo and you really talk about, the medicine men, the witch doctors, like all of this was always about nature. So
Right.
the science of fire, and particularly like staring into fires or doing candle magic, is that anytime you looking into fire, it activates certain brain waves. Like, we got the gamma, the beta, the alpha, the theta, all these different brain waves. And when you're focused and looking into fire, it activates the alpha state brain waves, which these different brain waves, the deeper you go, the more that you can experience otherworldly or metaphysical realities. And this is really what you're doing when you meditate. This is what you're doing when you engage in rituals. You're really shifting your brainwave states to be more receptive of these higher energies so that you can tap into the subconscious. And that's really what you're doing when you incorporating these elements, because all of these elements are pretty much the source of our reality. So working with them, and integrating them into our daily practices can have profound results. And like I say, like, if I just had to really give everybody just the most probably easiest but the most effective way to tap into money, it's through candles, candle magic. Like you want to get green candles, you want to get white candles. And the whole concept about candle magic is that you have to put your energy, your thoughts, and intention into that candle. So what I like to do is I would literally just hold it and I would just feel the emotions that I want to feel from the ritual. So if it's money, if it's love, whatever it is, you have to embody that emotion and transfer that energy and emotion into that candle so that when you burn the candle, you're actually, sending out that frequency to the universe as the candle burns and the smoke, because now you're dealing with all the elements. You got the fire, you got the earth, you got the water, and you got the air from the smoke. So now you're working with all the elements, and your intention is being sent out to the universe when you do these things. And it's just so much creative things that you can do just with candles and just with fire in general that can really, wake up the subconscious. And, the bigger that, you go with it and the more consistent that you are with it, the better the results will be over time.
Intention is a key word when it comes to magic, when it comes to the occult, when it comes to metaphysics. For those
But
who may be hearing this and they be like intention, 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 and they're trying to figure out how to tap into intention. Give me another word that we could use instead of intention, so that maybe, because the language is a lockdown language, and maybe intention they aren't able to grasp it as good. What's another word we could use besides intention? Do you think?
a good word that I would use instead of
Yeah,
intention,
yeah.
I would say
That's where the magic
will.
is coming from.
Yeah, I mean, intention is probably the best word I could think, but some other terms is probably like, willpower.
Uh-huh.
Um, like, the internal, and really just feelings. A lot of times, especially as men, we're kind of cut off from that feminine side, from the emotional, from the feeling aspect. So, and we can even break it down more practically to, having a goal.
Yeah.
Intention is kind of like, connected to having a goal and really just having a mental vision for, what it is that you want. This is really the key. They always say, people that, if you fail to prepare, then you basically preparing to fail. So that's really what it is. It's like, focused thought,
Mm,
is
mm.
probably a good way, because all of this stuff, it's only as successful as you're able to focus. So a
Yeah.
lot of us, it's hard for people to focus, especially, people on social media scrolling all day. So people really kind of have like a certain level of ADHD where it's hard for them to focus on particular things. But when you focus on what it is that you're trying to manifest, this is pretty much being intentional about whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish.
You know what I noticed, Makaba, is that a lot of people, they're good. They need a community to thrive. They need a
Mm,
group of people to really tap into meditation, to do their money rituals. And because there's not like a solid, we're living in an era where there's not a solid spiritual community out there like that. We're all on the internet, so they're not able to really tap into their magic the way they want to. So they love when they're able to meet up, when we meet up in big groups, because then they're able to express themselves to really tap in. What would you say to somebody who's like that? Because some of us, like myself, I have the ability to tap into my magic by myself all
right.
day, every day. Don't need a soul, just me. I'm able, but some people need a group. They feel as though they need a group to really tap into their magic. What advice would you give to those people? We're living in a world where everybody's pretty much to themselves and they can't do it because they feel as though they need their tribe to really tap into their magic. What advice would you give to those people?
Right. Honestly, if you feel like you need other people to manifest your own magic, you're really kind of limiting your power, because in my experience, the more that I focused on myself and elevating myself to a higher level, I
Yeah.
attracted my tribe from doing that. So honestly, I feel like you have to at least get to a certain level individually to even attract these people that you want.
Mm.
And beyond that, you have to understand, bro, that you are never alone. Your
Facts.
ancestors
Thank you.
are always with you,
Yeah.
and we have to really learn how to connect with our ancestors and know that they're with us. And like I say, like the thing about, consciousness and the third eye and all of this is that you have to be able to know that they're there. It's not a physical thing. You have to just know that we do exist in parallel realities, and we exist on multiple dimensions at one time, and your ancestors are always around you. They're always fighting for you. And a lot of times, we don't pour the libations. We don't, give thanks to our ancestors for helping us. And a lot of times our neglect of them is why we're not attracting or manifesting as well. So I would say connect with your ancestors, know that you're never alone. And even like if you've lost family members, those people are always still around you, guiding you from the other side. And like I say, you can connect with them. You can pour libations out for them. You can light a candle for them. If you got pictures of some of your ancestors, you should definitely have a altar with your ancestors on it anyway, and you should
Mm.
be giving offering to them, because a lot of times it's really your own personal ancestor that will come through a lot faster than some of the other entities. But a lot of people kind of neglect that part of them, And that can be a major, a major bonus, and that can help, bring these people, bring your tribe. And honestly, I'll be real, like even today, I was born, I'm an only child. I don't have no siblings. So I kind of was always just to myself. Um, but it's like I say, I found that, you know, I don't really work well with a large group of people a lot of times. So, we all kind of have our individual things, but another thing too is that a lot of people say that they want to try, but they be at fucking home all day just on the
Yeah.
internet. Like you got to go out here in the world and meet people. And like you having that mentality that you need these people. Like I say, it's kind of like it's like you're being needy. So it's kind of like the more that you like, kind of desperately want something, really the more that you can push it away. And like I say, if you work on
Mm.
yourself and get your own energy up, you will attract people to you. Like everything, like pretty much every big play that I've made, it really came from, just me attracting them. It's like I didn't really just go out here like, oh, I need this person, I need that. It's like, no, once I got myself right, they came to me, or somebody introduced me to this other person. So the tribe will come when you're ready energetically.
It's like your light was so bright it attracted me to reach out to you because
Right.
you doing your thing on Instagram, and I see you shining doing your thing, and I'm like, this brother saying some shit. So like you
Yeah.
said, your light is attracting that tribe. Now you got 1,600 people watching you as a
Right.
result of you, vibrating at a high frequency. So I definitely get what you're saying, man. Let's
Right.
take a couple of questions from the people. They loving it in the chat. Let's
Oh
give
yeah.
me a couple of questions for the brother Merkabah13 in the chat. Great conversation on the science of money rituals. We're talking about currency and wealth, abundance. Give me some questions for the brother real quick.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
yeah, yeah. Nah. Good conversation. Very good conversation. Do you feel as though when it comes to money, do you feel as though it's easier for a person to attract wealth when they have a mate? Do you think having a mate increases your wealth because it's like you're connected energetically, y'all having sex? Do you think that
Yeah.
increases it?
Um, well, it should theoretically,
Mhm.
but it all depends on, the depth of the relationship. It depends on the other person.
Mhm.
And honestly, it depends on the energy dynamic that you guys have. But of
Right.
course, anytime the masculine and the feminine come together, the energy is always amplified.
Mhm.
So you definitely can, and I feel like you definitely can manifest more,
Mhm.
because like when I look at like a lot of like the wealthiest people, nobody really ever does it alone.
Right.
It's always, whether it's a significant other, whether it's, just a couple friends, you definitely will need, some, just more energy to really get to higher levels. So I do think having a mate can help, but it has to be the right mate,
Mhm.
because it can go the opposite way. Like I've been in relationships in the past where I'm like super ambitious. I'm super, motivated to, manifest and create things. But the partner I was with just wasn't really, on that same frequency. So we would kind of start to clash, or I would have ideas to how we both could work together. And the other person either didn't want to do it, or they just, had other ideas. So as long as, you and the other person are on the same page, definitely it will increase the level of manifestation.
Excellent. First question from the chat, my brother. I want to ask this question here. This is from Anunnaki God 979 Sirius X. What a name. All right, this brother or this person wants to know, what is the most impactful prosperity entity in your perspective?
That's a great question. I'll actually give you two of them. I
Mhm.
give you the light side, and I give you the darker side.
Mhm.
So, one of my favorite entities I've always worked with is Lakshmi. Um,
Mhm.
you probably have heard about her a lot. It's a Hindu deity, but this is a deity that specifically deals with prosperity and wealth. And like I said, I have an altar for Lakshmi and other entities. But the thing when you work with these entities is that you have to basically treat them like you would treat a real person. And the thing that, you know, a lot of people miss out is that they kind of separate, you know, the spiritual from the physical. And really at this point on the planet, it's really one. And so you have to really kind of look at these entities as their real living beings. And this is why, you know, when you give them offerings, when you communicate with them, you know, you have to really have a relationship with them and really cultivate it over time. A lot of people try to work with entities and they really kind of only try to take, or they expect results in a certain way. But a lot of times, you know, you can work with the entity or do a ritual, a money ritual. And doing a ritual doesn't mean that money is just going to appear out of nowhere. It can manifest in the form of ideas. It can manifest in the form of, you know, somebody calls you the next day, an old friend that you ain't heard from in a minute. And a lot of y'all wouldn't even pick up the phone. But you pick that phone up and they tell you, hey man, I'm working on this, I'm working on, you know, X, Y, and Z. I want you to be a part of it. And a lot of times, you know, the entities and the rituals will manifest in abstract ways. And, you know, I tell people, you know, you still have to do the work. You know, it's like watering a plant. You know, doing these rituals and doing the magic is like getting the water and getting the soil to be right. But you still have to actually plant that seed and tend to it and water it every day and make sure it's getting the proper nutrients and the proper care that it needs. So that's the thing about entities. And I'll give you another one. Now, this is a darker entity. This is actually an entity out of the Goetia. So this may be a little more advanced, or some people may be kind of scared of the demonic realm, but it's an entity called Mammon, Mammon. And this is an entity that deals with wealth, that deals with money, and this can give you fast money. So you can tap in. I'm sure if you just Google Mammon, you know, he'll have a seal, and you want to work with that seal, which is another big topic. You know, working with sigils, symbols, and integrating these things. Like what I used to do is, I would work with like these entities like Mammon and different entities, but then I would also make my own sigils and I would put it under my pillow and I would sleep with it. And then in the morning, I would either burn it or, you know, toss it out. And that way it's like you kind of programming that sigil or that symbol, you know, into your subconscious while you sleep. Um, so yeah, Lakshmi on the light side and Mammon on the dark side is two entities that I personally fuck with. So
Indeed, I didn't know I was muted.
yeah.
Let me get to this next question. How many altars do you have? Do you have separate altars for different objectives?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Yeah, I got several different authors. Honestly, like I said, I just moved in here, so like most of my stuff downstairs. But yeah, I separate certain authors, and then you know, certain ones I kind of combine. Like if I have certain entities that work together. But I'm gonna give you a real hack, and I haven't heard too many people talk about this. You really need to make an altar for yourself. Put yourself on the altar, put a picture of yourself on the altar, and start giving offerings and, you know, feeding yourself. Because a lot of times, you know, we suffer from having a negative self-image of ourselves. And you know, the whole key with a lot of this occult shit is that you have to become the deity. So, you know, like, you know, I got pictures of myself on the wall, I got, you know, pictures of myself on the altar. And, you know, to the average person, they would look at that and, you know, it would be kind of weird. But I think it's more weird for us to be comfortable with, you know, having a picture of Jesus on the wall and giving our energy to that instead of having a picture of ourselves, and giving energy to ourselves. So that's one hack that really kind of changed my whole energy, is, you know, to treat myself as one of the deities. Like, you know, me, you know, I'm, you know, all of these deities, we are one anyway. But yeah, I have an altar specifically for money. I have an altar specifically for ancestors. I have an altar specifically just for me. And, you know, so I have different, you know, altars in different places for different situations.
Yeah, that was a powerful one. I hope y'all really listen to that and have an
Oh yeah.
altar for yourself. Yeah, I only heard
That,
a, I've only heard a couple of brothers, and I done interviewed hundreds and hundreds of people. Probably two, three brothers ever said that before. So yeah, that
right.
was powerful. Let me get to the super chat question. Does drinking more water and connecting to it more deeply help you attract more money, since money is currency and currency is another word for the flow of water?
Well, honestly, if you have that mindset, then it definitely can. Because I mean, at the point that I'm at, I damn near make everything a ritual. So it's really no limitation because I practice, chaos magic. So I'm not really a part of any one system. So I literally can make a ritual out of anything. But yeah, definitely any entity in any system that deals with the water element, you can tap in with them to attract money and wealth because like the super chat said, yeah, money is directly connected to water. That's why you put your money in a bank. That's why it's called currency. You put your money in a bank like a river bank. When you make money, they call it cash flow. Like it's so many little things that correlate money to water. So yeah, definitely you can tap in through water. And like I say, drinking water is good for you anyway. So you should definitely be drinking more water. But yeah, that can help. And the thing about that's interesting about water is that they've done a lot of experiments where when they play certain tones over water, it'll produce geometric shapes. So you can literally talk to water and program water even while you're drinking it. And of course, our body is made mostly of water anyway. So definitely, water is directly connected to money.
Remember they, I don't know if they still have them. Remember they used to have the wishing wells where you take a
Oh yeah,
nickel or a penny and throw, make a wish and throw it in the
oh yeah, that
water.
was some magic. Yeah, they, they,
Yeah.
they was putting you on the magic a little
Yep.
bit with
Yep. That was magic. We didn't even know it. We didn't even know it.
that.
Um,
Exactly.
let's get to a couple of more questions that we're gonna. Somebody want? Do you have a channel? Do you have a YouTube channel?
Yeah, I'm on YouTube, Merkabah13. Honestly, man, I've been doing so much moving around lately that now I'm finally gonna start focusing on my long form YouTube content. But yeah, Merkabah13, that's my channel. So you can just type that in. I got like a good amount of content on there, but most of my stuff is on Instagram and TikTok. So
Yeah, yeah, he's popping on Instagram, y'all. Make sure y'all hit him up on Instagram. Got a lot of stuff on there. All right, this sister wants to know: are there any negative consequences to working with dark energies?
well, the only negative kind of consequence will come from you believing that there will be negative consequences. Um, you know, when a lot of people talk about, dark entities or, demons, we've been programmed by the church to just automatically think evil or bad. When really anything that's dark is really just talking about things that are hidden, and it's really talking about, the deeper levels of your own subconscious. So a lot of these darker entities, these are the more ancient deities that over time, the meaning, their original meaning was lost. So they kind of got labeled as demons and they got labeled as something bad when in actuality, it really had nothing to do with that. It's just really Christianity and religious programming kind of just, casting these labels onto these forces because, within you, you have all of these entities, and really demon come from the word Damien means genius. So when you're working with the quote unquote demons, you're actually just activating the dormant parts of your own brain. So a lot of these spirits, we can break it down from a spiritual level, and it'll actually manifest in the form of different aspects of the brain, different organs and different body parts. Like that's the whole concept of the esoteric and the occult, is that you're bringing the information from out in the sky to within yourself. So the only consequence will come from the negative, thoughts that you have while working with them. It's really nothing to do with, evil. Now I will say this, that certain entities that you work with can manifest situations that will challenge you. Like, for example, like you might do a money ritual, and let's say, and this is a good example, and a lot of people wouldn't really understand this, but let's say you do a money ritual and then the next day you lose your job, right? A lot of people would say, damn, I fucked up. The entities fucked me up. But what if you actually are about to receive a much bigger, situation, a much bigger and better, situation to make more money, and the entity actually had to get you out of that job in order for you to have, something better. So sometimes, even what we think are consequences can actually lead to something that's even more beneficial to us. But yeah, there's no necessarily consequences to working with these entities when you understand that, they're aspects of you. They're just the repressed aspects that, we've allowed to go dormant, and our lack of understanding, makes us see them as something evil or bad.
Indeed, indeed. Last question for tonight. Any intuition for 2024?
Yeah, 2024 is two things. The it vibrates on the number 8. So 8 is the number of wealth. 8 is the number of money, of prosperity. So I like to do things, in eights. Like if I'm doing the money ritual, I might light 8 candles. I might do something on the 8th day, or even like the 17th day. 1 plus 7 is 8. But 2024 will be a year of manifestation for a lot of people, but it will also be a year of karma. 8 also represents karma, and it also represents, balance. So if you've been putting in work, and if you've been like really going hard, and if you've been going through it since 2020, 2024, you're going to see a lot of things start to reverse. You're going to start to see a lot of the hard work that you did pay off, a lot of the suffering that people went through. If you was able to maintain a pure heart, you're gonna see a lot of things, manifest positively in your life. And on the flip side, you're gonna see a lot of people that's been doing fuck shit for the past few years. They're gonna get exposed. Like if we look at what's happening with Diddy right now, if you look at just all these people that's been getting exposed towards the end of this year, it's because moving into 2024 is gonna
Mm,
be like a lot of it's gonna be a lot of balancing of those scales. So a lot of, and even in the conscious community, we've seen certain people, get into some things. All of that is kind of leading up to this 2024 energy, which is going to kind of balance out things. And whichever side of the spectrum that you're on, you will continue to go in that direction. So if you've been on some bullshit the past 3-4 years, it's gonna, basically expedite whatever you've been doing. So 2024 is going to be an accelerated year. I think it's going to be a lot of good things, but it's also going to be a lot of, challenges as well. It's going to be a lot of destruction. Like the thing about life that I found is that, you know, you can't really get around the fact that, there will always be, a positive and a negative. So depending on, your energy will determine what 2024 is. But it's going to be a lot about prosperity, manifestation, and karma.
wow. Yeah. Hey, Merkabah, man. I want to thank you for coming on here, my brother. Like I said, amazing Instagram. You're doing amazing things out there for the
Yes,
global
sir.
community. Let the people know about your website, services you got, things you got coming up. Let them know everything, how they could contact you. Let them know all that, my brother.
Oh yeah, definitely. Well, yeah, you can definitely follow me on all platforms. Merkabah13. My username is the same for all platforms. So don't get, it's a lot of fake pages of me. So don't get caught up or jammed up with none of that. But Merkabah13 on all platforms. You can also check out my website www.merkabah13.com. I have books on there. I have different products on there. I got herbs on there. I have, clothing. I got ebook. I actually have a whole ebook specifically on money rituals. So you can get that on my website, and that kind of goes more in depth into the rituals and the entities, and really gives you more of a step-by-step playbook on how to kind of set these things up. So definitely you want to check out the website. As far as what I got going on, man, I'm really transitioning now from kind of like, the social media type of content. I'm kind of transitioning to more of like short films and podcasts.
Yeah.
I also do consultations. So, if people do need like one-on-one, spiritual, guidance, I do have that. You can get that once again on my website, or on my Instagram page. You can book a consultation with me through my Instagram. Um, so that those are kind of some of the services that I have. But yeah, I'm honestly just looking to, just keep doing what I've been doing, but just expand and just try to help more people. And really kind of trying to, just transition into, just more of a media company type of thing. And so that's kind of like my plans for the future. But other than that, I got a lot of music on the way. I got a lot of interesting collaborations. I got a lot of new videos coming. So definitely follow me on all platforms and tap in.
Excellent, excellent, my brother. Yeah, I definitely look forward to collaborating with you. This brother's a music producer as well. People in my chat, everybody knows I'm a music producer. This
Yes,
brother's a music
sir.
producer as well. So I look forward to collaborating with that brother. And I look
Oh
forward to
yeah.
having you on here again, man. Great, great interview tonight, brother. And thank you so much. Thank you for everybody for tuning in. This is Brother Rich with Merkabah13. We signing out, family. Peace.
Peace, man.